Between the year 2020 and 2022, for every dollar earned by someone in the bottom 90%, a billionaire made a staggering $1.70. Sorry, a small change, it's $1.7 million for every dollar earned. That's how wildly skewed the global economy has become. And if you think that's surprising, let's talk about Elon Musk for a second. Right now, his real-time net worth is estimated to be over $400 billion. That's larger than the GDP of over 100 smaller countries combined. But here's a question for you. If Elon Musk donated $6 billion, could he really end world hunger? That's what was claimed in 2021. But before we dive into that debate, let's answer another burning question. Are you rich? If your net worth is $100,000 or more, you are richer than 88% of the global population. That's right, just 6 figures in savings, investments, or home equity, and you're part of the global elite. Now, if your annual income is above $60,000, congrats, you're in the top 1% of earners globally. But wait, before you start celebrating, remember that within the US, $60,000 is considered middle class. But what about the ultra-rich?
What are your superpowers again? I'm rich.
Let's break it down. If your net worth is $1 million or more, you're part of the global 1%. At $5 million, you crack into the top 0.1%. And if you're worth $30 million or more, you belong to the ultra-elite 0.01%. It's wild to think that the financial milestones many Americans strive for put them among the wealthiest people on Earth. Let's simplify this even further. Do you own a car? If yes, then congratulations, you're richer than over 90% of the global population. Why? Because billions of people can't even afford reliable transportation. Or how about this? Do you have access to clean drinking water, a smartphone, or electricity 24/7? If yes, you're already living a better quality of life than millions in the developing world. These everyday comforts that many of us take for granted are luxuries for a significant portion of humanity. But why inequality exists? Why does the world operate in a way where a small handful of people hold more wealth than billions combined? Number 1. Systemic policies. Wealth inequality isn't an accident. It's often a result of tax laws, corporate structures, and policies that favor the wealthy. For example, capital gains tax rates are often lower than income tax rates, which means billionaires can pay less tax proportionally than middle-class workers. Number 2. Exploitation of resources. Countries rich in natural resources, like oil or rare minerals, often experience what's called the resource curse. Instead of wealth being distributed among citizens, it gets concentrated in the hands of elites or foreign corporations. Number 3. Access to education and opportunity. In the US, zip codes can determine the quality of education a child receives, creating a cycle of poverty that's hard to escape. Globally, many don't even have access to basic schooling. Number 4. Generational wealth. Most billionaires today didn't start from scratch. They inherited a fortune, and that wealth compounds over generations while others struggle to climb the ladder. Can inequality be fixed? Fixing inequality isn't simple, but it's not impossible either. Here are a few solutions experts suggest. Number 1. Fairer tax policies. Progressive taxation, where the wealthy pay a higher percentage, could redistribute wealth more evenly. Number 2. Universal basic income. Providing every citizen with a baseline income could reduce poverty and stimulate the economy. Number 3. Education for all. Investing in education globally could provide opportunities to billions who currently lack them. Number 4. Regulating monopolies. Breaking up big corporations and ensuring fair competition could distribute wealth more evenly across the economy. These are bold ideas, but they require collective action and political will. Now, back to Elon Musk and that infamous claim. In 2021, the World Food Program, WFP, suggested that $6 billion could help end world hunger, at least temporarily. Musk famously responded on Twitter, saying he'd donate the money if the WFP could show exactly how the funds would be used. So, could $6 billion really end world hunger? In short term, yes, it could fund immediate food relief for millions of starving people. According to the WFP, $6 billion could provide food assistance to 42 million people facing famine. In long term, not quite. Hunger isn't just about a lack of food. It's about systems. Poverty, war, climate change, and inequality itself. Fixing these root causes requires sustained investment and global cooperation, far beyond a one-time donation. But here's the kicker. While $6 billion is a lot for most of us, it's just 1.5% of Musk's wealth. Imagine if billionaires collectively donated just a fraction of their fortunes. What kind of impact could that make? Let's imagine this. All the wealth in the world is pooled together and redistributed equally among every human on the planet in 2025. How much money would each of us get? According to the Credit Suisse Global Wealth Report 2023, the total global wealth stands at $454 trillion. With a global population of around 8.1 billion by 2025, that means each person would receive about $56,000. Sounds like a dream, right? But here's the catch. Would this solve inequality or create new problems? Immediate impacts: reduction in poverty. Everyone would have access to the same financial resources. For billions living on less than $2.15 a day, this redistribution could mean access to food, shelter, healthcare, and education. Could temporarily lift billions out of extreme poverty. Economic stimulation. More money in the hands of the poor and middle class typically means increased spending on goods and services. This could spark a short-term economic boom, especially in industries catering to basic needs and consumer goods. Long-term implications: inflation and resource scarcity. With more people suddenly able to afford luxury items or invest in businesses, demand would surge. However, supply chains might not keep up, leading to inflation and shortages. A loaf of bread might suddenly cost $100, nullifying the wealth redistribution's effect for many. Skill and effort gaps. Wealth isn't just about money. It's tied to skills, effort, and productivity. People with unique talents or high-demand skills would still find ways to earn more, eventually creating disparities again. Studies from economists like Thomas Piketty suggest that even with equal wealth, inequality tends to reemerge over time due to these factors. Loss of economic incentives. A completely equal distribution might discourage innovation, entrepreneurship, and hard work. If everyone earns the same regardless of effort, what's the incentive to create the next breakthrough technology or start a business? Would it work? History offers some clues. Experiments with extreme wealth redistribution, like in communist economies, often resulted in inefficiencies and stagnation. Experts like Joseph Stiglitz argue that while redistribution can reduce inequality, it must be paired with systems that promote education, healthcare, and opportunity to create lasting change. Bottom line, if wealth were equally distributed in 2025, the immediate results would be life-changing for billions of people. But without systemic changes, inequality would likely return within decades. Still, it's a fascinating thought experiment that reminds us of just how concentrated wealth is today. Inequality is a complex global issue, but understanding it is the first step toward change. Whether it's systemic policies, generational wealth, or access to basic resources, the gap between rich and poor affects us all. And as we've seen, even small shifts, like rethinking tax policies or prioritizing education, could create a more balanced world. So what do you think? Is inequality inevitable, or is there a path to a fairer future? Let me know in the comments. That's all for now. But if you want to know how big brands trick your mind to spend more than your intentions, click on this video. You added a $30 item to your cart, and a message pops up. Spend $35 to qualify for free shipping. You think just $5 more? Easy. But here's the twist. You can't find anything useful for $5. Instead, you grab a $20 item you didn't even need. Now, your total is $50, not $30, and all because you didn't want to pay for shipping. This is called the free shipping threshold.